So welcome to the Youth Today show with me, Stanley Njenga. And today we want to talk about contraceptives. Je, unajichunga? And because you have realized in universities, kumekuwa na an increase in the amount of sex that's happening, and we want to know, are the contraceptives that have been introduced increasing the urge to have sex among the university students, or are they taking it as a safety measure? And to help us go through that, we are with Dr. Oyer here, and he'll clarify for us. Maybe if you can introduce yourself and what you do here.
Okay. I'm called Dr. Oyer. I am an intern at MMU Health Center, as you can see, and it's a pleasure for having me here.
Okay. So we're talking about contraceptives, and the school has introduced contraceptives to students. Do you think that it's encouraging students to have sex, or is it encouraging safe sex?
As per my expertise, I can say the introduction of contraceptives among the university students is a safety measure, because sex is something that is always there and it will forever be there. So this is an unavoidable incident that people can think that it encourages sex, because this is something that you can't avoid. So as per what I can say as per now, this is a fact.
As a
I
safety
think
measure,
it is a safety measure. It's better.
as a safety measure, there is abstinence as a safety measure.
Yeah.
And now, when you introduce the contraceptives there, won't they limit someone from abstinence?
Uh,
As a doctor, and you're the ones who are perpetrating towards the contraceptives being put there, don't you think they are going to encourage them not to abstain from sex?
no. As look at us, we are human beings. We are biological creatures.
Uh-huh.
So in the introduction of contraceptive, everybody in campus, I tend to believe they're above 18, isn't it?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. So this is a measure. As per what you're asking me, is as if you're asking me if we can avoid sex. Sex will be there.
Uh-huh.
It has to be done. And yeah, people tend to take it funny, but it has to be done.
Yeah.
So the introduction of contraceptives, that they know that this is a act that is there, so they have to make it safe, so as to prevent harmful things to happen as per your health wise.
Yeah, such as STIs and
exactly.
HIV. We're so glad for your expertise in this sector, and we'll be sure to be with you next time on the Youth Today show.
Thank you for having me.
The choice is yours. Stay tuned for the education segment coming right up. Welcome back. Today on the education segment, we want to know, how has online learning been for you as a youth, and most specifically as a student? We are joined by our panel. So we are all students at the Multimedia University, and at the moment we are learning through online learning. I want to know, how has been your experience been with online learning? Maybe we can start with you, Martin.
Oh, thank you. Online learning so far, to me, it's been mixed feelings. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad due to a number of reasons. Some of them being the network coverage and lack of resources like buying of bundles. So it's not been easy, especially being that I was used to face-to-face learning, and abruptly I'm made to shift that to online learning. So it's not been easy for me, but it's possible.
So for you, Sharif, can you say that online learning is expensive to the parent side and to the student side compared to the school side, from your experience?
Yeah, Stanley, it is absolutely expensive because now that the government has taxed the airtime and the data bundles. Now you can imagine someone getting data bundles, and then the network coverage is very poor, as you can see it here. We have those challenges. There are some of the challenges, but regardless of the challenges, we have both advantages and disadvantages, and people now can actually combine the classes and also do their side hustles. So
Okay. For you, Anastasius, maybe I can ask, do you think that online learning is limiting students who are in remote areas or in places where there is poor network coverage, and has that affected you?
Okay, thank you so much. As per my thinking, I think the students who are in the remote areas have been adversely affected, because you find that the network in those areas are very poor, or are very they're very weak, so they can't be heard, or their audios are terrible, such things which are disadvantages to them. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Doreen, maybe you can tell us how often are the classes, and how are they affecting your schedule on your day-to-day activities, and is it something that you can be able to commit yourself to?
Okay, thank you. So classes normally happen in the mid-morning hours. Yeah, I think from 11 a.m. Ranging to up to 3 to 4 p.m. Which in some cases there's limited break between one class, from one class to the next. Let's say 11 to 12 to 1, and then you pick up from 2 to 3. Of which if it was a physical environment, I feel like even a 20 minutes break or even 15 could make a difference. Like you could go interact with the lecturer, students.
Yeah.
But now you're online, you're in your environment. You could be in a matatu, you could be in church, whatever you are. So that it limits the interaction.
Okay, we might have talked about the disadvantage side, but also on the advantage side, I can say online learning, it brings much of flexibility to the lecturer, to the student, that you can learn from any point where you are, and the lecturer can teach you from any point where they are. But coming to monitoring is where the challenge comes in. This has been the Youth Today Show with me, Stanley Njenga. Learning never stops. Keep learning no matter the environment or the medium. Stay tuned for our next segment, the art segment. Welcome back to the Youth Today Show, the art segment. And in the last year, King Kaka released a song by the title Wajinga Nyinyi, which talked about bad governance and the voters' poor decision making during voting.
Swali, stadium ziko wapi? Kazi ziko wapi? Ile manifesto lini wao nayo iko wapi? Na hii handshake kwani ni ile sisi ufinyanga Kenyatta kwa mkono ya karao? Swali, hata kama tuko na Kenyatta, ndio maana strongly feel hatujapata uhuru.
Today we are going out and we want to know, does music and musicians influence the way you make your decisions, for example, in voting? Let's go. From the Wajinga Nyinyi piece, do you think musicians or music influence the way you vote?
Yes, going with that, I know what I'm going to do during the election day.
Okay. From the Wajinga Nyinyi piece, do you think musicians and music will influence the way you vote this coming year?
I don't think it will influence. I'll work independently with what I think it's right.
From the Wajinga Nyinyi piece by King Kaka, do you think musicians or music will influence the way you vote this coming year?
No, my vote, my decision to vote doesn't depend on what the musician says.
Okay, thank you. That's all for today. See you next time on the Youth Today Show, the home for all matters youth.